Michael Jones. I've had Cynthia McKinney.
Which
Who else?
that's a good one. To get her is good. That's not so easy.
Yes, that was a
She's
great
been
show as
here
well.
years ago, but yeah, she's very good.
Yeah, we had a great time, and I'm hoping to have her back on soon as well. And I also had Michael S. King. He was actually my very first interview.
Yeah,
Michael S. King, yeah, he did the Bad War and a few other
debatable.
books. Right.
They're commenting on top of Kevin McDonald in the chat room, so you must have got everybody's attention on that one. We painted a great picture for you. Thank you very much. First of all, how did you hear about Inside the Eye Live?
Speaking with Mike Thomas Goodrich, he told me about you, and I checked you out, and I said, I definitely want to have a show with you and get to know you and possibly even build a friendship. So
cool. Now, where are you located? Chicago?
Yes, so I'm in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois.
Is it Chicago or Chicago?
It's Chicago.
Oh, thank goodness. My English is still working. I thought maybe you were overrun from the south and it became Chicago already.
Well, I guess it depends on what area in Chicago you're in. It would be
Chicago.
What?
I can't imagine having frijoles pizzas,
Yeah, right.
Because we're going to ruin the pizza environment of Chicago if they keep up this. I mean, what do you I feel it's sacrilegious to put jalapeno peppers on a freaking pizza, man.
I think so too, and pineapple and all this other crazy stuff. But
come on, pineapple and Canadian bacon's the best.
Yeah, you can. It is good. It is good. I've actually had pizza with barbecue sauce, if you could believe that.
I had it yesterday. It sucks. Really, the girls here, they like it. I'm like, dude, do you really got to buy this thing?
Right.
And yeah, we have it here. It's like chicken with barbecue sauce, and it's what's really amazing about these Jordanians, because the pizza actually sucks, but it's like awesome artwork. They take that barbecue sauce and they make it so neat and straight lines. Like, dang, I can't eat this. I got to put this on the wall, shellac it, and put it on the wall.
Right. Well, if anybody ever comes to Chicago, you have to go to two places: Johnny's Italian Beef, which is on North Avenue in Elmwood Park, and you have to go to a Portillo's. Portillo's is like a little franchise here in the Chicago area, and they make the best beefs.
Really? Mm-hmm. I've only been to Chicago one time.
Mm-hmm.
Just one time. And what it was, I was on a flight back from, I think, Boston, and there was a delay and then another delay, and then we missed all the flights to get back to LA. So they put us in a hotel for the night, so I basically got bused to some hotel in Chicago, and then I had to then get back up in the morning to catch the early morning flight back to LA. So that was my only time stopping over in LA and Chicago. I've transited many times, but never actually, aside from that, been in Chicago, and it looked very flat.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. They definitely do have the best pizza in the United States, that's for sure. But yeah, downtown is interesting, and some of the outlying areas, especially Belmont and all that stuff. So they do have some interesting areas. Maybe I could take you around sometime if you come out here.
What areas, if you are a Chinese tourist guide, would you instruct Chinese never to visit?
Oh boy, that would be the west and south side of Chicago. It used to be the housing projects, but they've since then broken them up and have gentrified those. But yeah, the main areas in the Chicagoland is west and south sides. You don't want to venture into, at least at night.
So it's kind of like South Central Los Angeles, Try to avoid a lot of these areas.
Right.
So do you have in Chicago the same parts they have? Like I just read a very nasty article about Los Angeles, my hometown, with the typhus and the really bad situation of tent cities. It's always been bad, but it looks like it's grown. The problem's grown. We have police officers now getting typhus.
Really?
Yes, the police officers. The state's complaining to the stations downtown that they're not sanitized properly, and there's now disease inside of the police station. The police say, you know what, you're making us walk through all of this feces and urine day in and day out. What do you guys expect type of thing?
Right.
We don't have a budget, and we can't hire the guys from down south to clean it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really bad in LA.
Wow.
Do you have that type of situation in Chicago?
Well, we have homeless, but we don't have tent cities. So I can't say that, I haven't seen that, but we do have homeless who stay year round. And I'm kind of surprised with the horrible winters that we have, because Chicago being the transport hub, you'd think that they'd hitch a ride down somewhere a little warmer during the winter months, but they don't.
If I'm in that position, I sure would be. I wouldn't be getting in people's hair, but I'd be looking for someplace a lot warmer.
Sure, I would too. And the interesting thing that you bring up with tent cities, I also, on my show, I cover a lot of topics. I talk about the truth in history, especially World War II. Okay. I've learned a lot from the people I've met, like Dennis Wise and Mike Goodrich and so on. And Monica Schaefer's situation, she was in prison in Germany for speaking about the Holocaust. And her brother is still in prison. So I cover a lot of that stuff. And I also discuss present day issues and the immigration that's happening, and it's expected to get a lot worse. We're expecting like 5 million more illegal immigrants. And then after that, they're predicting 15 to 20, especially because of the situation in Venezuela. So I talk about a wide range of issues.
Are you on a scheduled show, which means that you're going out live at the same time every week, or is this something that you kind of ad hoc it and throw together?
I have not set a schedule up yet, but I am intending on doing that because my accounts and whatnot were hacked. I had to start a brand new channel, so it's actually called Erica: The Harsh Reality, and then the number 1, and you'll see me. I have a picture of myself with Lemmy from Motorhead, Lemmy Kilmister.
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah, that's Lemmy. So, but yeah, I'm planning on doing a scheduled show. I know that that's much better to, retain your audience and for people to find you and maybe to plan. I usually always do. That's something that you can count on as for now. I try to stream live after 8 p.m. Central because then my household's, more quiet. And so that is the consistent part. But I do plan on scheduling a day. I'm not exactly sure which one just yet. Maybe on Sundays because I'll have help with controlling my dogs. My dogs like to yip and yap in the background. So
that's a problem doing lives. It's a problem. No, it's a problem.
It is.
Because they just break your concentration, and then you get a little bit nervous, and then you start to sweat, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Right.
People, the real physiology of these types of things, guys. You really do get that nervous sweat going. It's like, oh, now I'm uncomfortable. And then you can't focus. And the next thing you know, you've lost half of your show, and you don't even know what you talked about. Kind of like me today. Kind of like my first half hour here. I couldn't get going, but
yeah, and unfortunately, I've had a lot of experience with my stream being interrupted, or like my guests using Google Hangouts that would drop, and you have to improv a lot to keep things going, and yeah. So
don't you love it? Don't you just love technical problems?
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
I've had like 6 different technical problems so far today, and I'm still hanging. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Just to go into this last break, we lost the stream. I'm like, okay, I'm playing music live, and I'm not even on the stream, and I'm just okay, let me connect casually.
Right.
But it's kind of fun. If you do these things live, it's a lot more fun than pre-recorded where you can edit things out, and it's kind of stale. I like the live format.
I do. Yes, I do too. And I think, when people see that, you're a real person.
People were demonetized, but there were key people like myself that were actually just completely taken down.
Oh, wow.
agent.
Funny you say that because I spoke with Dennis Wise today and he told me that happened to him. So I have to touch base with him and let him know that he wasn't the only one. I wasn't aware that it was a massive, hurt.
Massive. No,
Wow.
it's being called the YouTube purge, the great YouTube purge of 2019. It's massive.
It's ridiculous.
And it is ridiculous. There's a lot of theories about it, but anyways, it's a huge, huge deal. I don't care personally because I'm not a YouTube community guy. But,
Mm-hmm.
I did have we did have 350 some odd, people
Right.
that were there. But I just didn't follow because I didn't trust YouTube. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you're on YouTube. How do you find the platform? I mean, how do you find it?
I'm not happy with it. It's, I also have been covering a lot of this bill called HR 336, and
Okay.
it's a federal law. Actually, there's 26 states that have passed a similar law statewide. This is a federal law, and it is going to prevent companies from participating in boycotting of Israel, and that goes
That's
against
very
their First Amendment
strange.
rights.
Yeah, and so is that bill that now makes it like against the law to talk about Jewish power of Hollywood.
Right, right.
Constitution.
Absolutely.
You keep pushing
Absolutely.
it. You push it. And I just don't grasp the strategy here from these people. All they're doing is really raising awareness to how tyrannical they are.
Right.
And then they want
Exactly.
to call you anti-Semitic for recognizing. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
And it's
Have you been called an anti-Semite yet?
I have, but it's been a while.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And I'm actually coming up with some different ideas for YouTube. But I started this series where I talk with a gentleman called Duvid, and he's a Jew, and I'm trying, because I'm so tired of seeing nothing but fighting and arguing on YouTube, and nobody just talks and discusses, So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. That's like one idea that I do. That I started up. And, of course, I'm going to continue on with my interviews and then also have my news show. So, but yeah, the quality on YouTube nowadays is very poor. I think I have maybe one or two people that I'm really interested in following to find out what is actually happening in the world. The rest is nothing but propaganda or, they are, you could tell the communist Jewish-backed groups that act so outrageous that, I'm like, normal white people don't act like that. And, and it's just it's a propaganda game that they play. So, and I talk a lot about that type of thing on my channel as well. So, yeah, I'm not very happy with YouTube. I'm hoping to maybe venture out into Radio Land as well and have both. Because I find YouTube too restrictive. I really do.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it too much. I would just stream my shows and that was it. I wouldn't put it. But I'm going to needle them a little bit. Now that they banned me, I'm going to needle them.
Good.
Just see what happens, see if I can sneak under the radar and get some more views. And just to get more people out there playing content. Of course, I'll put it up on BitChute also.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking now just to needle them, like screw you guys, you're basically taking down stuff that was actually inactive. And it was a great thing for me because I could then go to my clients and show them my work. And I didn't hear what I was talking about. I don't want to scare them away. But they could see me like, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Yeah. And all that's gone now. The history's gone. It's actually saved to hard drives and all. But still, it's nice to just pull it up on YouTube and say, that's me.
Right, and if you want to put it back, it takes a lot of time, and
that's not worth the time to get the 2 to 5 views you would get, and then they're not even fair about that.
Right. Yes, they dial back
you're
on views.
You're not a millennial, and you're not a boomer, right? Am I correct?
I'm a Gen Xer.
So, all right. What's the perspective from the Gen X side? Because all I know is that boomers and like millennials, they're like at each other's throat right now. What's it like being like in the middle and you got to like listen to these old folks talking, these young people that don't know nothing talking to? What's it kind of like in the middle?
Well, I guess, because being in the middle, I guess, for me anyway, I can agree with both sides, but I also can disagree with both sides. So it's trying to find that common ground and bring people together, which could be frustrating a lot of times because people have a tendency to get hung up on a specific issue or two when if you just take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you could see that there's a lot more common ground that you could.
I like to tell the millennials, I said, guys, you just don't get it. Your generation is far less clued in than we were. And we didn't have an internet. We actually didn't have an internet.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Right. They seem to be less. Yeah, they seem to be less. As far as like actual life is concerned, a lot less experienced for sure.
Come on. For them, learning how to ride a bike was playing on PlayStation. Come on.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like they didn't go ride bikes. They were like, okay, let's play motorbike on PlayStation. Right. That's how they rode their bikes. And like, guys, have you ever fallen from a bike doing 27 miles per hour and crashing into gravel without a helmet? Have you ever done that?
Right.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. The helicopter parenting, I'm sure, doesn't help. And
I hated my wife, because she would like be that way.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, you can't be doing that all the time. I said, come on, Daniel, let's go. Right. And so I'd take him outside. And one time I had him playing baseball. And he's like 7 years old, and he like jumps. I'm like tough on him, right? And he jumps up to catch the ball, and he ran straight into a fire hydrant, and fire hydrants aren't very tall. And of course, as you can imagine, he flipped over, landed smack almost on his head, caught the ball. And I'm like, dude, great catch, man. He's like getting up, trying not to cry. It's like, yeah, that's it. Great catch.
Oh,
boy, if his mom would have saw that, I would have been dead for like 4
right. She would have flipped out.
He's like,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember like my kids, they'd build little bike ramps, and they're jumping off, and I'm like, and my son didn't have a helmet on, and I said, you really wear this helmet. But you know what? Luckily he did, because like the very next 2 times he jumped off that, he did crash and smacked his head against the concrete. But yeah, I remember back in the day, our the Gen Xers and the Boomers, boy, we bang ourselves up pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And I always get pissed when the Gen X would beat me. You know what I mean? Like, screw you. But, I had like the state champion, literally the state champion on my cross country team. So I just had to swallow that a little bit. And then I feel like, say he's a state champion. It's like, okay, I guess that's pretty good. Right. But yeah, you hate it, man. And we always found, I'll be honest, the boomers, we found the Gen X's coming up too soft still. We found them still too soft. You guys are tough, man. And I can't imagine now what it's like for the kids growing up. It's
really, I found when I talk to teachers, because they're the ones who witness every decade the change in society. And now they're talking about how all the kids that are coming up into junior high and high school, a lot of them think that they're gay and this and that and this, and I look back and I've talked about this, that, back in our day for the Gen Xers, we had heavy metal or heavy rock to participate in the rebellion, being rebellious.
Correct.
Kids nowadays, all they have is, being gay or being trans, and that's really an issue.
This is actually a big, serious issue that you bring up. Erica from The Harsh Reality, everybody. Joining me from Chicago, back with more right after this break. And it'll be quiet. You won't hear anything, Erica. So
okay. Listen to Revolution Radio.
All right, back to more, everybody.
And we'll be right back after this message.
Everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and garden off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA.
Learned it was garlic and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
It's nice if you use the right handle there. All right, it's the Fetch. We are back. I believe we're back. Erica is joining us from Chicago. Erica from The Harsh Reality. Hi, Eric. Erica, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I'm glad we didn't get disconnected.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's like, I don't really know if you're back, but Erica, everybody's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun, haven't we, Erica, the past few days before we set this up. Erica's a classy young lady here. I can say that, and I'm not very old, actually, guys. Erica, I'm going to turn like 57 next Tuesday.
Are you? Well, happy birthday in case I don't talk to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm 47, so 47.
That's a good age. That's good. I'll tell you what, we probably both wish it was 37 now, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's funny watching the time go by. I can't believe it. And I just think back and I'm like, shit, when I was 20, that was 20 years ago. And I look at pictures and I look different. And it's a strange feeling watching yourself age, for sure.
Yeah, and of course now we were talking about the kids and how they are aging in a very way that we could never imagine. Right. And that's this idea. All these kids now are coming up thinking they're gay, they're transgender, and of course a lot of this is the programming, perhaps the food, perhaps the schooling, the education, of course, advertising. And you said you had been talking to teachers about that. What are teachers saying about this? I mean.
Well, that they see the changes in generation to generation as they come in, and that, like you were saying earlier, they're much softer, and now a lot of them think that they're gay or they're trans, and like I was talking to my doctor, and a lot of his patients are coming in cross-dressing and all this crazy stuff. And
what the heck?
Oh yeah, and I'm a registered nurse by trade, so, it's, I've had a lot of psychology and, child development, and, this is a really bad situation for kids because children need their parents, because they have magical thinking. They, if they cover their eyes, so they think that you can't see them. They need, for reality testing, they need their parents to put these boundaries up and say, no, you're a boy, or no, you're a girl. And for the very few people who truly are trans, it does not justify this drastic change in our society and their social engineering in what they're doing. And I truly believe that, because your sex and your gender and all that is part of your core identity. And if you take away core identity, then the person is more easily controlled and influenced. So I believe, in my opinion, that's their ultimate goal.
What's funny is here is the end of the Ramadan holiday. Mm-hmm. And what they do is kind of like any major holiday, you give gifts. It's just kind of like a human thing to do. And so here the kids are all walking around with gifts. And you know what the boys are walking around with?
What?
Toy pistols and toy rifles.
Right.
And I'm like, that was us growing up. You were out there playing cowboys and Indians. You were shooting down the high-flying planes in the sky. And now I'm thinking our kids can't even compete with this. And what this is inferior to what we had as an American culture and society 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
And unbelievable, really, to me, Erica, the degree to which our elites, our education system, have been either able to engineer the fall or simply allowed it to fall by just not standing up equally within the system. It really is very ill for the American people. I don't think they quite grasp how damaging and dangerous this nation is headed with this type of mentality being forced out into the open.
Definitely, absolutely, and unfortunately, it may take, a war to undo all the damage that they've done.
Yeah, and we're getting back into like a Weimar situation. I mean, this is what the Jewish people did to Weimar. They turned that country into a degenerate, lesbian, transgender filth society. Yep. And the people got fed up and rose up against it, but we don't seem to have in America enough core social cohesion to really rise up and stand against this.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, even with all your talking, my talking, and hundreds of us doing this talking, I just don't see, unfortunately, how we're going to be able to penetrate it. But, you have to hold out some hope, but still it's rather scary.
Yeah, there are some days where I feel that way, or, there are many days where I feel that way. But we also have to remember that with this HR 336 bill, for example, they're scared. So, and because of all of you, like you and Dennis and Mike and the rest, I woke up because of what you guys have done. And there's a lot more people waking up out there than what we realize. And we always have to remember that. They don't want us to know or feel like we're actually getting somewhere. And that's why they do the YouTube purges like they've done yesterday. Mm-hmm. So we could use that frustration that we feel initially as assurance that our voices are getting out there and people are realizing what in the heck is going on.
I saw something coming from the 20-something, I guess you could call them the millennials. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that is your prime procreation years at the end of the day. You really should be settling down, having children, and have some years left to raise them. And what they are talking now is creating a small movement across the nation of straight pride parades.
Good.
With the motto, we're straight, it's great, we procreate.
Right.
And just start putting it out there. And already we have seen the lesbian, gay, transgender society, they are actually going after this in a very militant way. And boy, is that going to start waking people up when you start putting that out there.
I'm sure. Absolutely. And, within the LGBT community, because now they're allowing transgender women, which is actually men who feel like they're women, compete in female sports. And also they are at war with lesbians because they're forcing their way into women's safe, women only safe spaces like abuse shelters, for example, where it really should just be genetically women. And
I saw one story there, Eric, on this. Connecticut, I believe, state champions. There are so many transgenders that the top woman was 8th.
Yeah.
How unfair. And you know what's interesting is that when you look at our generations, ours before and yours, our 2 generations, we would have smashed any male that tried to go and compete against a woman.
Absolutely.
We would never have tolerated that as students. You coward. Somebody would have probably beat the heck out of them and nobody would have said a word about it.
That's right.
Like, who are you to do that? We still, believe it or not, guys and gals, and I know a lot of our listeners are kind of my age and yours, so they understand, but we held women with some esteem. We did still have chivalry towards the gals in our classes. We had that. You don't see any of that today. It's like they don't even know what it's, I had a black guy, great guy, by the way. I worked with him in Saudi Arabia, and his nephew is like 9 years old. And he held the door open for a girl in his class. And the teachers got on him for basically, what are you doing? This is toxic masculinity. And the kid was crying in Saudi Arabia on the phone to his uncle. And I'm saying, see? And I'm like, everyone knows I'm the radical guy on the radio, right? Everybody knows I'm kind of famous over there in my community, in the expat community. And they're like looking at me, and I said, see, I told you, dude, I'm right. And I tell that to everybody, and we have all these leftist nutcases that come over there, and tell you what, they're impossible to deal with. They just I like this one, like I call them Tutu. I give him names. Tutu, and because he's black and he's about as gay as you can get, you can just see him like open out whatever he can try to get a date somewhere. It's like, dude, you like tutus, dressed like a pimp, that type of stuff.
Right.
And I'll tell you, they're like impossible to work with. You just cannot talk to them.
They don't want to hear the other side, and they're the most controlling and non-speech advocates, out there.
Have you had any complaints against you?
Well, I've always been a vocal person, so in my personal life, yes. I mean, a lot of times people don't like what I have to say, but that's too bad. And, I raised my son to open doors. Now, if I were that parent, I could guarantee you I would have been down there putting all those teachers in their places. I would be actively involved in the school board. And see, that's what people have to do, again, is get involved with their communities. Nobody's involved anymore, and that's how the rats have been able to take over the ship.
Absolutely. There's no reason why students should not be involved in those school boards. Absolutely none. And you should be as militant as they are militant towards your children, and that means you get rid of those that are making a problem for you and your kids, because there's nothing more important than the education of me. I had a great education. Even though it was a lower middle class school, my education was bar none fantastic, because we still cared about the kids back then, and the kids cared about education. Right. And that's a key point here too, is the kids don't seem to have, for whatever reason, a self-motivated interest in education.
Right. It's all about the collective, and that's part of the taking away core identity, is that you lose your individualization and who you are and what values you're willing to step up and fight for. You don't have, and the first attack is on the family, and if you don't have a good relationship with your family, you don't have your family values that you bring into your adulthood, and so on and so forth. So, I raised my son to open doors for women and to stand up for women, and he's gotten into physical fights because he saw a woman who was getting picked on by some drunk guy, and so my son stepped in, and he got into a bar fight. He won, which was the good thing, but and he has complained that has has had a difficult time finding quality women nowadays, and and I feel sorry for them. I really do, because the kids are really confused, and
you know, we had. Did you hear this show with Georgia? Have you heard Georgia from Santa Cruz, the host at KSCO that was let go because of her?
Oh, Georgia Peach. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's saying the same thing you're saying. It's like there's just the women nowadays are really the problem. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I was raised in a house with 4 brothers. Don't ask me to talk about sex. Okay, I wouldn't know. Okay, I just wouldn't know. I had 4 brothers. So, but yeah, it seems to be a real problem getting through to today's ladies and young gals that, hey, there's something a lot higher than where you're headed. I know I remember my mother would say something to the effect that, you know, if she didn't have children, it was like wasting a body. That's exactly what she said. If I don't have kids, it would be like I wasted my body. Mm-hmm. And can you imagine today's girls talking like that up?
Well, you know, and working as a registered nurse, I spent a lot of time in the maternity area, and I would see quite often women with their first children at the age of 40. First child at 40. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine, you know, I was a teen mom. I ended up dropping out of high school. I got my GED, went into nursing school, you know, and I had to work hard for what I earned. But I can't imagine waiting till 40 for your first child. That's way too late. But that's on average, a lot of people are doing that. And they're having maybe 1-2 kids, and it's crazy.
At 40, you can't have a whole lot more. I mean, that's there. That's insane, actually. I can't imagine starting at 40, you know? I've been in situations here, Erica, where, you know, you meet these gals over here in the Middle East and they want kids. And I'm like, don't look at me, man. Don't look at me. I'm like 55, 56, 57. They go, oh, no, that's not too old. I said, please, I'm not starting over with diapers again. Trust me. You need to go find some guy your age. I know you like this older guys, but please go find somebody your own age, man. Because I wouldn't want to start again at that. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't want to do it. Not being selfish, I just wouldn't want to. I've got other things I'd like to do now. Mm-hmm. You know, after all that type of fun stuff. But I'll tell you, it's difficult. Certainly difficult. Now, where do people find your website? Where do people find your show? What's the best way to do that?
I would just do a YouTube search. You know, put in Erica, the Harsh Reality, and then the number 1, and then it should come up.
That easy, huh?
That easy. It should, yeah.
How many subscribers do you have?
I'm sorry, what?
How many subscribers do you have so far?
Well, it's on my. Before I had to take down what happened when my computer got hacked, they had control over my email account, which then meant that if I tried to stream, they could kick me off and all this stuff. So originally I had over 600 people. That's good. Yeah. So then all I have left before I made this new one was my backup channel, which got up to about 260. And I'm going to be erasing that one because, again, I don't have complete control over that Gmail account that controls the YouTube account. So now I have right now 12. But I just made the account yesterday or the day before. So hopefully things will start picking up when people find me.
Don't you hate rebuilding time and time again?
I do. Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it. I swear I've been rebuilding since like 2001. I would build and I would get banned. I would build and I would get banned. I would build and get banned. And I just kept doing it. And finally I just, figured, okay, I got a good gig here. Mm-hmm. They don't hassle me. They like what I do. They don't make a big fuss out about my message here. And so I just don't want to move. It's like, I get offers, but I just don't want to move just because I don't want to go rebuild.
Right. And, once you get comfortable and if you're happy, most of all, if you're happy, is there really a reason to move, Can
you really be happy doing shows from 1 to 3 in the morning?
It depends. If you're a night owl, I guess you would be.
I don't mind doing the shows. You know what I hate about doing the shows from 1 to 3 in the morning? The day after.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's hard. It's really hard. It's like my Friday's done. I'm just so tired and groggy all day. And then I don't get a good sleep Saturday because I have guests all day on Friday. It's the one day when guests come. And then Saturday's the flagship show. And it's like, man, you got to get your energy back up. You got to get up. Don't bother me till 10. I got to sleep.
Right. And then you're all crabby and people are like, what's your problem?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And it's like, they just keep pumping coffee into me thinking it's the coffee. And just there's not enough coffee to get me going. It's like, shoot.
I could understand that. Definitely. And especially like if I stay up late and then, I'm the same way. Because originally I'm actually kind of a PM person where, I could stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning, but then after that, that's why I never worked real night shift type thing. But especially if you're a morning person, that's hard. That's really hard. If your biological clock wants you to get up at 6 a.m. and you're working like a kind of a night shift like you are, that is difficult the day after for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I've been doing it so long though, but it's okay. I'm tired. Let's see what else is news, man. We talked pizza. We talked South Chicago. We talked West Chicago. We talked about Mike Rich. We talked about. So I guess where are you headed with your show? I mean, what's your main focus now? Where do you think you're going to take the editorial direction?
Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm starting, like I said, a little series, kind of a series, maybe once or twice a month, talking with, because I don't know any Jews, okay? And I don't think that there's enough representation out there to show, you could be two people who have different ideologies and you could still discuss stuff or debate in a healthy way. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm not going to be the type that's going to sit there and yell and scream and call names at somebody either. I don't, you know what I mean? And I'm tired of that focus. And I can't find anybody else doing that. So I'm going to do that.
How are you going to get some Jewish guy or gal to come on your show?
How did I do that? That is surprise. I know, really. It was
Did you
actually
tempt them with a bagel or what?
No, actually, what happened was I had a guest appearance on another YouTube channel called No Apologies. His name is Josh. He's a really good guy. And I was going on to talk about the HR 336 bill, and he had a surprise guest. I didn't know about it ahead of. Well, and I would love to have you on my show to give that other side, because I don't really know anybody who's actually lived there and can testify from personal experience. That's what I'm kind of looking for as well. People with personal experience, to share what has happened, what's really going on. So I'd love to have you on sometime in the near future.
Well, we talked about that. I think you're like Frederick Blackburn. Have you gotten Frederick on?
No, I've not heard
Blackbird 9.
Oh, yeah, Blackbird 9. Okay, yeah. That sounds familiar. I'm not familiar with his name, though.
Okay, Blackbird 9 then. Okay, Blackbird 9. Blackbird, I'm trying to get you a hot date here, okay? I know you're listening out there, so, okay, you got to drop a line here. What time we talked about this, and you're kind of like Frederick. You go at 4 in the morning, something like that for me, local time?
That would be correct. I think.
Because if it's 8 o'clock Eastern, it's 3 a.m. here.
Okay, so you're 8 hours ahead. Well, and I could do my schedule.
I don't mind.
So if it's you better, that's fine.
You have to stay within your schedule, because we have to, when we're in this business, we're not doing it for ourselves. We serve the customer.
Seriously,
right. We serve the listener, and I take that very seriously. Mm-hmm. So that means that we would have to stay where you are actually online. I can actually do it. You know what I mean, Erica? Okay. We can actually do a show. It's not a big deal to stay up to 4 and 5 in the morning. I ain't that old yet. Come on, man.
I could go on at 8:30 p.m., so that would be like...
Guess what? You can get made up, okay? You can make yourself up. I'll go ahead and put my tie on. I'm going to still be in my birthday suit underneath.
All right.
I'm going to be in my tie. It'll be kinky, okay? And I'll be like in front of my green screen, and we can put you and me anywhere you want, okay?
It'll be very interesting, right? It'll be entertaining at a
minimum.
And
I promise not to stand up.
All right. You got a deal.
So just let me know the date. We'll just make it happen for you.
Okay. All right.
YouTube's pissed me off. I got to start putting more material, but I ain't getting in the tie. Screw the tie, man. I'll be like sweating. I'll be like looking like Michael Jordan after running up and down the basketball court for 40 minutes.
With your tongue out, right?
Probably. I'll be like, please give me some water. Because I got the lights here to make the pop, make the green screen pop and all that. I'll be
right.
Well, that would be kind of fun, I guess.
I would love to have you on. I think it would be a blast. So
what I'll do, since you're a nurse, I'll get an IV bag. I'll put the IV bag.
Okay. All right. We'll play nurse patient.
Yeah, and I'll be like, I'll be like, excuse me, nurse, I need something to drink, and I'll just like drink it from the straw instead of going through my arm. I'll be like, wow, I didn't know it was that easy. Why'd I use the arm all that time? Gee, Fetch taught me something. The whole time I was trying to stick this in the arm, and look, he just drinks it.
No enemas. That's it.
No,
I draw the line at enemas.
Me too. Trust me, me too. Come on, this is it's okay. Yeah. Guys, she's got me speechless now. I've never been speechless in 8 years of this show.
Well, there's always a first, so I'm proud to wear that badge. All right.
Yeah, we were kidding each other, everybody on the air today before the air, because she said she got made up. She's like, "Are we going to do video?" And I'm like, "No, this is pure radio." So, well, I got made up, and I can't. And I'm like, "Well, you know what? I'm right now in my fetch mode. Do you know what a fetch really is? Do you know what a fetch is?
No. What is
a fetch is actually in the old Celtic system. It's your spirit double. And in the ancient North,
that's right.
It's your spirit double, and then in a Satru, it is like the highest level of your spirit double. Okay. And basically, we're out of time. So if you want to hear more of this story, catch Eric and I when we do the show, everybody. Eric, we're out of time. Say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
It's equally here, guys. Thanks for listening. Join us Saturday Inside the Eye Live, 10 o'clock a.m. And once again, good night from Aman. Good night. Thanks, Eric. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome to Revolution Radio, where you, the listeners, are in charge. Here at Revolution Radio, we present 48 broadcast hours of news and information each and every day. Revolution Radio never sleeps. Revolution Radio is worldwide and borderless information. Revolution Radio is also commercial free. Revolution Radio is supported 100% by you, the listeners. And that's why we appeal to you to donate and support this station and its expenses. You can support us in many available options like archive subscriptions, our seed pack selections, or even my woodworking store. And we also even have Revolution Radio's swag at the Revolution Radio Zazzle store, which you can get t-shirts, coffee cups, even a baby onesie. Or you can just plain donate to the cause. We cannot continue without your support, and your support is what helps pay the bills. So please, if you wish us to continue, please stop by our station support page and drop a dime on us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps. Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Well, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive to get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
This is the people's war. It is our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning, warning.
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all! See how the trouble you've started? Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it. Right, you tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Time for the New American Dream radio show. The American-Russian novel, All We Need Is More Vodka Radio Hour. We have the winds of our own totalitarian society freezing the land solid. A tortured tundra.
What we must have is a new American dream. We are allowed to ask any questions that we have. There are no wrong questions. A new American dream. Not of homes and toasters, but of becoming the type of country we always thought we were. The new America, the real hope of the world.
Some of those who have spoken the truth are no longer here. Their chairs at the Thanksgiving adult big table are empty. Their relatives have sent them to Siberia with a roll of their eyes. So let us begin. Here we go. Scooch up to the samovar. Maybe leave your hat and boots on. Fill your peasant hands with a warm drink. And listen for the sound of hoofbeats on the ice.
March went out like a lion, awaken up the water in the bay. Then April cried and stepped aside, and along came pretty little May. May was full of promises, but she didn't keep 'em quick enough for some. And the crowd of doubts and Thomases was predicting that the summer'd never come. But it's coming by dawn, we can feel it come. You can feel it in your heart, you can see it in the ground, you can see it in the trees, you can smell it in the breeze. Look around, look around, look around. June is busting out all over the meadow and the hill. Buds are busting out of bushes and the romping river pushes every little wheel that wheels beside the mill. June is busting out all over. The feeling is getting so intense that the young Virginia creepers have been hugging the bejeepers out of all the morning glories on the fence. Because it's June, 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 June. Just because it's June, June, June. June is busting out all over. The saplings are busting out with sap. Love has found my brother Junior and my sisters, even Lunar, and my ma's getting kittenish with pap. June is busting out all over. The ladies and men are paying court. Lots of ships are kept at anchor just because the captains hanker for the comfort they can only get in port. Because it's June, 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 June. Just because it's June, June, June. June is busting out all over. The ocean is full of Jacks and Jills, with the little tails a swishing. Every lady fish is wishing that a male would come and grab her by the gills. June is busting out all over. The sheep ain't sleeping anymore. All the rams that chase the ewe-sheep are determined there'll be new sheep, and the ewe-sheep aren't even keeping score. Account it's June, 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 June. Just because it's June, June, June. Hey, folks, it's June. I'm Chuck Gregory. This is the New American Dream Radio Show, and we are streaming live on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And remember, it's a listener-supported network. They deserve your support, so head on over to freedomslips.com or revolution.radio. Look for that donation button and use it. I'm proud now to introduce my friend and co-host, Mike Palachuk, an American writer.
Hi, Chuck. Tonight we welcome these special guests, Frank Cordero, Philip Ferrugio, Mickey Z, Azura Crispino, and Ava Bird. And so this Thursday evening we are gathering for the New American Dream Radio Show in Fort Lauderdale, in Port Orange, in Des Moines, Iowa, in northern Minnesota, in Los Angeles, California, in Austin, Texas, in Queens, Astoria, New York City, and wherever you are. And now my recommended list for June 6th as we all continue on our path to becoming fully woke. Recommended, worth your time. From Information Clearinghouse, Israel's Role in 9/11.
by Philip Giraldi. FBI evidence supports prior knowledge or complicity. From Information Clearinghouse, How Did Russiagate Begin? By Stephen Cohen. Russiagate is the worst, most fraudulent political scandal in American history. Manufacturing War with Russia by Chris Hedges. This new Cold War predates the Trump presidential campaign. It was manufactured over a decade ago by a war industry and intelligence community. The STEM school shooting hoax. Find it at 153news.net. Handler exposed in STEM school shooting. 153news.net. Colorado STEM shooting hoax. 153news.net. And finally, the June issue of Penn Magazine is now available. Find it at pennmagazine.us. Penn Magazine is named in honor of Penn Jones Jr., a small-town journalist, newspaper reporter, editor, publisher, one of the first researchers into the John F. Kennedy murder, an honest newsman who did not lie to us. Mike Polachek, editor, Chuck Gregory, publisher.
And now we join in progress another episode of The Americans. The Americans is brought to us by crisis actors of the Homeland, Operation Mockingbird, Operation Northwoods, COINTELPRO, and by Crafts in Blackwater, bringing you Aurora, Tucson, Orlando, the Boston bombing, Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, and so much more. The construction is underway for the wall around the Washington, D.C. Beltway to drain the swamp with an impressive culvert system and to separate the White House, the FBI, the CIA, the Pentagon, the Congress, and the Washington Press Corps from normal human beings. Scattered around the job site are the wooden boards to be tacked up all around the new wall with this message. Let me put it this way. While 9/11 was a U.S. deep state operation, probably subcontracted for execution to the Israelis, the entire Washington swamp has been since 9/11 accomplice after the fact by helping to maintain the cover-up. If this is brought into light, then thousands of political careers are going to crash and burn into the scandal. And now we join in progress another episode of The Americans. We find Buzz, the space dog, and Ricardo, the space cat, getting ready for the big anniversary by chasing each other around the big oak tree inside the rose garden. Someone blew a whistle that Ricardo did not hear, but he chased Buzz as he raced inside. They plopped into their cushions in front of the TV just in time, just as the announcer began. And now it's time for another episode of The Adventures of Buzz the Space Dog. We've heard all about Russian space monkeys who went into outer space and didn't come back until the Soviet Union was gone. And then when they did come back, they were expecting maybe a parade or a nice dacha down on the Taiga View Lane. But it didn't happen. Well, the Americans had their own space dog program going, trying to match the Russians with similar results. And those dogs returned from having been sent up by President John F. Kennedy and splashing down after November 22, 1963. The world they returned to was barely recognizable with Lyndon Johnson in the White House. Some of those dogs took the option of shooting right back out to space. Some moved to Ukiah. Some lived on the streets for years and years. Some raced to dig up money buried in the backyard and moved to Edina. One of those was Buzz. When we last left Buzz, he had just received a certified letter hand-delivered by an unnamed new mail person packing Pomeranian spray. Buzz pinned the envelope to the floor with his paws and ripped it open. It was one of his old space pals, Neil the Space Poodle. A real lapdog, Neil was. Uh-oh. He sniffed the letter closely. The letter was supposed to have been delivered days ago. Neil would be here today. Oh, crap, thought Buzz, and he pooped on the carpet and sniffed it. Neil was a big shot. He'd actually been to the moon. Buzz was only a test dog, just Earth orbit stuff. They didn't have the technology then. Computers were as big as whole rooms then. The radiation belt getting by, machine, all that. It came much later. Buzz hurried around, dusting, straightening,